Alrighty, hello everybody. How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Oh, it is me, you are you, together we are we, and we're all one big happy family. Hi, I'm here. I may have screwed up my back moving something that not technically, it did. That did say team lift. Sure, I may have done it all by myself and ended up as a crumpled mess on the floor to be found by some, I don't know, some person in the morning in the office building. Oh, hey.
Dead talk deallu watcha streaming stead of just posting memes.
Memes. Fluffy sheep, your memes are always welcome here. I appreciate you you lurking, and my golly, my gracious. Fluffy sheep almost has a higher belt rank than I do in my own channel. It is baffling and it is humbling. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my good sheep, for that. Man, Fluffy, we've grown old together. Yeah, I'm dead. Oh, that hurts. I shouldn't do that. That makes my muscles tense up and my spine is going ouchie. Oh my gosh, Fluffy, we've grown old together, my friend. You know, sun's getting low, big guy. Our 30s are on the horizon. Also, hi, Heretic Trance. Iron Chef Lord. Oni is here. Kragar is here in spirit. Though I guess if he ever does say anything in chat, he's butt dialing us. Big Slam is here as well. So I want to say howdy and welcome to you all. Thank you very much for being a part of who we all are and what we're doing here together. That's really awesome of you, Fluffy. Thank you very much. Man, it feels so good to see a lot of you starting to get your black belts. Oh, what an honor. What an absolute honor it is. Things and stuff. I gotta go over stuff. Gotta talk about stuff first before we get into the workshop. Yeah, we do. But instead of keeping the metric system down and all the other things that are in that that wonderful Stonecutter song from The Simpsons. Is it not this one? Yeah, maybe I'm lit up enough as it is. A few things. First, a preview of something that is upcoming. Now, if you blink, you'll miss it.
You bow to no one.
I am truly humbled, Coffee Cat. Thank you dearly.
Chwedeg 3 months. It's a long time.
Such a long time. But look at Coffee Cat. Coffee Cat. Bubbla. Look at you. You are rocking a black belt, my friend. Thank you for that. If you're lit up, that wasn't ibuprofen you took. Coffee Cat, I'm about to go over some news, some stuff that is on the near horizon, and then we'll get into the workshop. Now, part of this news, the blink and you miss it, is some art. Art? In this economy? Yes. Yes. Art in this economy. So of course we have our usual assortment of emotes here, and I do have emote slots open on Twitch. All of these are available to you all. If you type in dance with a capital D, dance, okay? Boom, look at that. All of these are, that's a subscription I pay for. You're taken care of. You know, are we jamming out to something? Drums, vibe, music, dance. All of this, and if you look up there, you can see that the emotes will show up up in the workshop too. But all those are available to you, right? Now, for here, I have 16 slots that are opened up between static and animated emotes. And so, I want to show you some things. All right. Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot laser also. Don't forget laser. Right here. In fact, if any of you watch Coffee Cat's Cyberpunk ongoing game on Wednesdays, like some of these coffee, because I know that you use BTTV as well. Some of these, like laser, might be pretty good to put into your channel's lineup. And that's, of course, presuming that you don't even make some of your own. Because there's a nasty rumor going around that you are an artist. I'm sorry to put you on the spot like that. You know, if this is you, Coffee, if this is you right now, but there is a nasty rumor going around that you are an artist. Okay, you have filled up your slots? All right, well, hey, if things cycle or whatever, or if you ever do have room or they change their policy, then there we go. So all these are available to you, and of course, don't forget these are ones that are proprietary to us here. No other channels have more to Y. Or have are you on Team Bright? T Bright? T Brightfire? Yep, there's a Face Tank. So if any of you are on Team Mordecai, then there you go. All right, here we go. I'm only going to keep these up for like 5 seconds each, okay? Now, these are not the final version. These are not the final versions. So enjoy it if you enjoy what you see, but realize that what's in the wikes might be different. Here we go. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there we go. If you missed it, I'm sorry. My hands are tied. Forces beyond my control will prevent me from ever just showing these off to you all again at some other point in time in like an hour or so, okay? There's literally nothing I can do. It's it's commentary on it's commentary on the times that we live in. So no, that's an oof, Coffee Cat. That's oof. I don't know if I have an oof. Yeah, I don't think I have an oof. Oof. It's supposed to be kind of a oof. Ooh, oof, oof. Coffee Cat, are you gonna take commissions again sometime? I'm putting you on the spot. I'm making you do work tonight. Yeah, you're gonna be a commission cat? Commissions are pretty much all open all the time. Can't guarantee on speed. Coffee Cat, I will shill for you if you get your queue cleared out, or you know you have this. I will shill for you. All right, now we are gonna go over another thing. Let's close out our browser. Let's open up our disk rod. All right, a few things, everybody. As the year passed over, I am down boosters. If you have a boost available, I would very much greatly appreciate a server boost, so we can get back to level 3. There's a lot of emotes that were locked out of, including the custom invite. Before I was paying. I mean, not only do I pay for Nitro, but I was paying for 4 boosts, and to do that was costing me a lot of extra money. And with me bleeding out money last year, I couldn't afford to do that for this one. So, if you have at least 1 boost, or if you have 2 available, because if you have Nitro, you should have boosts available to put towards a server. I would be very grateful if you would be willing. Only poverty Discord. Well, and I'm not I'm not shaming those who. Uh-oh. There we go. Heretic is getting into the mood. Ravenstar coming in. Hey, Lucius. Good to see ya. Raven, you're here just in time for channel information. Things that might be relevant for you, considering you're holding a sword of moderation. You missed... Oh, Raven, you and the others missed the only opportunity I was giving people to take a preview look at the new emotes coming out. Yeah, schools were closed because everything was covered in ice in the morning. It was really surreal. I took some pictures of it. So if you all have boosts available, I would sincerely appreciate them pointed this way. Now, if you are a booster, you are also a golden goblin. Remember, golden goblins, well, they're not showing up on the side here, but golden goblins are have showings of appreciation every quarter, because you've gone out of your way to do something for the benefit of other people in an act of generosity. Boosting the server is opening up larger file transfers, more emotes, and it makes the place better for everyone. And so if you're a server booster, you're also a golden goblin. You know, Big Slam, last night it was weird because it was frozen rain. It wasn't quite snow. Like, some of it was snow, not all of it. And then there was just also rumblings of thunder, and it was a kind of a surreal thing. So yes, boosties, please. If you or others have some available, and if you do use Discord Nitro, you should have 2 that you can point towards a server, and you can also shift those around. if you're in a server, and stay loyal to people who've earned it. I'm not trying to mine that. But if there's a channel that has 100 server boosts, and you're boosting that server, and beyond the feel good, or maybe it gives you a special role or something, again, enjoy what and who you enjoy. But if there's nothing else from that server that you're getting from it, could I possibly interest you in pointing those boosties over to us? I'd really love to get up to level 14 before our vampire game, and I'll be talking about that in a moment here, before our Vampire the Masquerade game. And then I've been talking with the Chroma Company crew to see who's available to do another longer form story. Now, which system? I don't know. Because not everyone is available, or not everyone has an interest in any particular system. So, it's working it out. It's all even pre-session 0 stuff. Thank you, Raven. Because I'll definitely want it. I'll definitely want it for the opening movie, please. Which I have edited and ready to go, and I'll be talking about Vampire in just a moment. Now, for those of you who are boosters and or subscribers, you do have access to Epic Heroes. This is where I've been playing and streaming some Phasmophobia after after the broadcast. And Bardic Media and Verbal Components is the store after dark. It is not NSFW. Notice you don't have that caution sign. However, I would describe it as 16 plus instead of 13 plus. So things in Bardic Media are allowed to be a little spicier. It does not mean it's political. It does not mean that it is overtly sexual nor filled with gore. These are not NSFW channels, nor are they, there's some servers that have a vent channel, and I get why they exist, but if there's ever a vent channel, I mute it, because I don't need to be saturated with other people's daily drama or trauma dumping or all this other stuff. It's nothing like that. It's what you see here. It's verbal components are table talk. Just you can drop an F-bomb, or things can come up in conversation that would be that I would prefer aren't shared in a PG-13 setting. In fact, over in Bardic Media here, Papa Meat, he does some incredible animations along satire and horror. And I was watching the horrors of trading card games, and look, this is not a PG-13. He's not terrible, but he definitely caters to an adult sense of humor. I would share this Papa Meat, even sort of self-poking at the industry in which I'm in. I would share this here, but I would not. And if Heretic Trance put this instead in Memes and Media, I'd ask her to move it to Bardic Media instead. Because while there's nothing adult here, the conversations and things that come up are best suited for Bardic Media. So if you do boost or you are a subscriber, you should be able to see the Epic Heroes up here. Just make sure that you have Twitch and Discord linked together, because Discord will auto sync with Twitch and give the subscriber role to you. Up here, the Adopt-a-thon. As you all may know, I have until the end of this month to move out of my one office. Hence why I couldn't broadcast last night. because I was setting up a workbench and I'm doing a lot of other stuff, trying to condense down 2 offices into one and find out what the heck I'm supposed to do with all the stuff that's left over. Part of that is, well, and also Raven, talk to the other coterie members. Is it about time that you all get a coterie haven, or are you going to invest in with the relevant plot event fellow character, and maybe you want to start a mutual thing, are you going to file your haven, singly or as, singly or as a couple? And then, of course, as soon as one of you gets a ghoul, then you get to file to have a dependent. So, I have a lot of minis. These minis need homes. I guess speaking of taxes and returns, if it's something that you can point this way as well, let me, at a severe cost advantage to you, get miniatures out to you. So I am making boxes of 10 minis, and you might go, Matt, that's 6. To which I'll say, correct, that is. Because then the rest of the space is going to be filled in with either 4, I guess you could say regular size minis, 2 larges, a large and 2 regulars, or a huge and a regular. That's how I was apportioning the that's how I was apportioning things. Hey, DQ. Oh, hey. Well, not that you have to report such things to me. I didn't even know that y'all were expecting. Yeah. So this is the Quiller household +1. I'm sure that I have something here. I have a bunch of conga rats. Well, there we go. The Quiller household. Yeah. Although this just means that Diablo's minions strengthen. Pardon me. But you know what? Your party size is increased, and I think you're going to have a great time of it. All right, so you might go, oh, words. Well, yes, but also no. This is simply telling you all, if you want to read it, and you don't hashtag just trust me, bro, how all of this works. Because I want to make sure that it's presented in a way that you all understand. Each box of minis is $25, and that includes shipping to you. So really, after a box is sent, that's really like $20 for, at my cost, $30 in minis. Heretic should bonk me because I'm almost just giving away these minis. Smee, don't try to stop me, Smee. Don't try to stop me, Smee. Smee, stop me. Stop me, Smee, stop me. Thank you, Heretic. So these are almost just being given away. And then there, on top of that, there's 100 entries. So there's 100 boxes that 10 or an equivalent of minis are going out in a box. One of these 100 people are going to win a $400 pre-painted gargantuan Tiamat. So not only are you getting minis, you also You also have a chance at getting a pre-painted gargantuan Tiamat shipped to your door, about the size of a house cat. Okay. So if you can help me give a home to these minis, and I'll load you up. You know, if you get 4 boxes, you are getting a lot more than $100 in minis. Especially because it's going to be combined into a box for efficient packing, and that is 4 entries to win a Tiamat. Because I have 1 Tiamat left over, and I'm not going to repeat the Tiamat event. Or oh wait, it's there we go. Once we get up to 5,000, there is a non-Tiamat story event that will take place. Hi, Cleve Chan. Now, if there's those of you out there who say, I have enough minis, I bet someone else could use some. And by the way, it's not just like janky, you know, I'm not going to put in 10, you know, because who likes gnomes? Literally no one likes gnomes. You know, oh geez, I hope Fluffy Sheep is. You're not going to get a box of 10 gnomes. And I go, haha, fooled you. It's going to be a mix of things, and there's going to be rare, the rares, uncommons, commons, super rares. It'll be a mix. And I'm not going to repeat the same mini in a box. Now, if you buy 2 boxes, what was the example? If you buy 2 boxes, there might be an owlbear and a djinn in 1 box. There might be an owlbear and a Merid in another. So, you buy 2 boxes, you might get 2 owlbears. But each box will not have repeats. And there will be rare and expensive minis in there. I'm talking minis with a market price $20, $30. So, if you're willing to help me give a home to this stuff, then please do. And again, oh yeah, if you do not want the minis for yourself, Cleve Chan, you could say, I am up to here. I am up to here with minis. But you want to help someone else get them, you can sponsor a box that I will give away on your behalf. By default, you are put in. Uh-oh. Hey, Raven, all right.
Let's kick this off with 2 spots.
Well, there we go. Now, Raven could have said, you know, all right, I want them, or I'll keep one and I want you to give one away, and I'll hold a giveaway. Now, by default, Raven gets both entries to win that $400 Tiamat piece. Okay. So the beneficiary gets the box of minis, which is cool. However, unless she directs me to give away those entries as well, by default, she would get 2 entries for that $400 piece. So this is an ongoing fundraiser. Please help me. Please help me give a home to these assorted minis. I need them gone, and the sooner the better. So if you got $25 to spare and you just get 1 box, or if you say, well, you know, tax returns were a little generous, I want 2 or more, or you say, you know what, I'll get a box a week and we'll just keep going. Awesome, and thank you very much. This is a fundraiser, effectively, both for the channel, and it's getting rid of this stuff that I cannot store, I cannot hold on to. And I'm making it as beneficial because you're getting these minis below my cost. not even including the shipping to get them out to you. So, you promise. Oh, and look at that cute little doggo, or I guess the wolf up. So this is live. The Adopt-a-thon. Can you help me give homes to these boxes? And if I have minis, oh, to give away even.
Eine Box to give away.
All right, we will have a giveaway for that here shortly. So Coffee Cat is getting the Tiamat entry unless I'm instructed otherwise. But I will make a note that gives the box too. That way, when I roll the D100 at the end, if it comes up as a 3, Coffee Cat would win the Tiamat, and whoever else wins this box of emotes, oh my gosh, box of minis, will get the minis, and even more people are winning. All right, so we'll save this. Yeah, but if y'all can help me out here, this is going to go to reduce my population of minis, and I'm going to be putting this money into the channel in different ways. I think I found a way that I can stream from the drone at not just 720, but I might be able to do a full 1080 stream to you all. And so we'll check it out when that piece of equipment comes in. Let's give them homes, and if anything, maybe you can make room in your heart, in your home, for Tiamat. Coffee. Is there room for Tiamat in your heart? Tiamat would be lovely. All right, well, hey, we're off to a good start. We have 3. This is going to 100. And if I have minis left over, I'm gonna come up with something else to do with them, because I gotta give them all away. All right. Anyway, that is the Adopt-a-thon. We also have. I am seeking a vampire. Vampire the Masquerade. I am running this. It is going this month. I am starting a 3-parter called Tabula Rasa. Tabula Rasa. If you've never played Vampire the Masquerade before, that's fine. This is not going to necessarily be an advanced game. I am still happy to welcome newcomers. All right, Cleavechin. Yeah, I saw the viewership spike, and I thank you for tuning in like that as you did. Hopefully, Cleavechin, with your experience, is it smooth streaming over on YouTube? Was it smooth for you? There's a mod for one of the games I play called Tabula Rasa. Oh, I hope it's a fun game. I have not played it, so I don't know if anything will be parallel, but if it's also a game about vampires doing weird stuff, then... All right, but I'm not jagged, or... Was the delay consistent? Or is there an ever-increasing delay, where one is somehow falling minutes behind the other? Okay, it was consistent. Then there we go. All right. So I am looking for one more person to play Vampire the Masquerade. So far, one person Binary Dark here has thrown a hat into the arena. So if no one else applies, then we'll go with Binary Dark and we have our 4th player. If one of you out there wants to play and you're available on these days from 8 p.m. until about midnight Eastern, I will consider you. This closes Saturday night. So you can read through here. I will supply any of the players. I will supply you with a compendium on Roll20, since we will be using Roll20. So if you don't have the rule book, that's fine. I will make a rule book available to you. Let me supply you the rules. Uh-oh.
Zwei vor me.
Do Huggies, Artemis Rose Moon has refilled my cheeks with color. Well, there we go. You are Artemis Rose. Let's put you down for 2. And thank you for giving the goblins some happy cheeks. So yep, read this over. Do remember that for the presentation, everyone's on face cams, and because I want to see your all smiling faces. You're welcome to use fake teeth, like like prop vampire stuff, or wear makeup or wigs. But I want to hear your voice. I want to see your face. I want others who watch to see what happens. In case there's those moments of, again, not that I'm gonna violate terms of service. We'll have a tasteful fade to black. It's an R-rated game, but I'm not taking it to the depths of where Vampire can go. I'll put it that way. But yeah, you'll be rolling around in Cleveland, Ohio by night. And, yep, everything's here. You'll be walked through it. You are welcome to be a first-time Vampire player. But this closes... Yep, offer closes Saturday, February 8th during the stream. So, this is when the days I need you, when I need you. If you don't know how this stuff works, I can teach you, that's fine. And the others can help teach you building a character and all this other stuff too. You'll be onboarded. So newcomers are welcome to the game. And if you want to see how the stories played out before, you want to get a feel for my style, you can watch these videos. Uh-oh.
I'll take 4 boxes, please. Can you include an undead lich in there? Live ones are very disturbing.
How would a live lich work? Hey, Jedi! Thank you!
I hero and hat.
We are almost 1/10 of the way there. On a Thursday night of all things. Thank you. And Jedi Prime Alex, thank you. You have a lovely orange belt to match your orange name. At least it's orange for me in my display of your name. That's awesome. Thank you all so much. All right, so yep, I need another vampire. Sink your fangs in here. You can get a feeling for the past story. You don't need to know the past story. That's fine. But you can see how things play out here, okay? And if you can do it this Saturday, not much time left. This Saturday is when I'm going to choose our 4th vampire for the coterie. Oh, all right, so purple for you on your end. orange for me, and now that's orange for me in my OBS display, yet up here, you're pink. So there we go. That's just how it works out in the Wiki Wild Wild West. If you are an artist for hire, I don't know, someone like Coffee Cat Presents, okay? This is refreshed for the year. Please let me help shill you to other people. And if I can do some business with you, awesome, I will. Do you have some other talent for hire? Are you a DM for hire? Do you do some sort of, I don't know, consulting, or you say, well, it's a long shot, but I'm a landscaper in Walla Walla, Washington, or Kalamazoo, Michigan, and I'm willing to, to mow your lawn for $20 if because you're a fellow member of the Hero Zone. So these are channels. Well, Cleve Chan, hey, don't knock it till you try it. If you want to post something up there too, there are artists of all skill levels here. So let me help shill you, please. We did get a new looking for group here through Voivode Kohotek. So if you look here, Voivode is looking to run a game of D&D 5e using Foundry, Discord, and Twitch. And so here we go. By the way, his Dungeon Sport Coliseum is a lot of fun. You make a character and you and your party is thrown into a coliseum to fight monsters for the entertainment of everyone. The games are drop-in friendly and combat focused, big prizes, big monsters, you'll love it. So, if this sounds like something you want to do, then cool. This is an open invitation to you. Voivode's rated into us. I've rated into him. He's a fun guy who runs a neat show. Have fun. Make some characters to throw into the meat grinder, okay? Was there anything else? Oh, yes. My heart. Oh, my heart. Look at Kiwi's rendition of rendition of Awe when Awe was alive, and then here we go after the transformation. And then some extra fan art. We have Awe and Yedna here doing a little dance. And I'm presuming what's going on here. You see the tumbled wench, the tavern in the background, and this is them dancing up in the rafters. How delightful is that? I love it. I love it. I do need to add the Tiamat coloring book pages here, but anytime you're bored, or Cleve Chan, if you want to work on inking or coloring skills, the line art of all these are done for you. Do you like rats? Well, I have a rat. I have a rat here for you. Okay. Color the rat. Try out new programs. Try out new textures. Try out whatever. The art and some of the inking is even done for you. Add color. Print it out. Use colored pencils. Go grayscale and use charcoal or just a regular pencil. There's a lot here. And if you do color in anything retroactively, please share it over in your creations. I would love to see what you've created. Meyer Angel is over here creating 3D sculpts of things. Bad Espada is sharing his stuff. Hi, Belladonna, good to see you. Kragar is doing a sketch here. I love your all's creativity. In fact, This was Kragar's take on half of the memorial for 2024. And then I suppose I could shill that as well. Oh, some people reacted. Who reacted? Oh, that's wonderful. For those of you who did react, thank you. But yeah, like here's the memorial for 2024. You know, a fun little riddle. You know, it's I had to cheap out last year because I was bleeding out money, so you couldn't get a full color, you know, super in depth thing. I packed in as many memories and memes from 2024 as possible, and here they are. And you can print this out on two 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper in order to put them together. They're specifically designed to do that, okay? So color it, solve it, have fun with it as you will. And if you want a spoiler on what's happening, what are the memes, not everything is spoiled. There's things in here that if anyone found them, they haven't told me that they found them. But there's other fun things up in here. Yes, you did, Big Slam, and thank you for that. So I think that's it. We talked about things going on in Discord. We have our Adopt-a-thon. I do have a box of minis to give away. And maybe I'll do this around midnight. Let's get through the first portion of the workshop. And then if any of you want to sponsor other boxes to give away, then we can do multiple boxes. Otherwise, just one is fine. Since Coffee Cat will take the entry for the Tiamat, and I do have a box to gift here. All right. What else? We went over this, the Adopt-a-thon, Bardic Media. Again, if you have any boosts, and I can earn those from you somehow, I would really like 4 boosts before Vampire starts in about 10 days. If it's possible, please. I'd love to have those redirected over here, so I don't have to spend this money to buy this. To buy this again. Let's close out Discord. And you know what? A couple of you have popped in, so I'll show off one for those of you who weren't here in the beginning. If you blink, you're gonna miss it. I'm gonna keep it open for 5 seconds. You ready? These are new emotes coming out for Twitch. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Ash was sick for 5 days, and I got whatever she had, possibly norovirus. I'm handling a little better, but I feel blah. Well, Belladonna, if we can entertain you with a world-building workshop, I mean, it ain't your first rodeo, but if we can entertain you, then so much the better. Oh no, I keep blinking. Yep, that's it, Cleve Chan. You'll never see it again. I will literally never do previews of the upcoming emotes for the channel again. That's it. I'm cutting you off. Go home, Cleve Chan. You're drunk. No, not asking for uppies. I will give you a clue. Your clue is somewhere on here. Obviously, Cleve Chan. I do like that we have these mods emotes as well here. And pet the mods, that's true. There's also pet the mods. All right. There's an ad break starting in a minute. Let's get up. I'm gonna refresh myself. I'm gonna get some more agua. Okay. Let's take a 3-minute break for the ads. And what I'm going to do is we have things to start going over in our workshop. I'm going to go through Castles and Crusades. We're going to discover how they recommend doing world building. And then we'll do a world building exercise with those considerations, as well as taking a look at brand X's exercise. Okay. I'll be back in like 3 minutes. Hold on tight, everyone, and we're going to workshop together. Then we'll do a giveaway for some minis. All right, everyone. Here we go. It is time to emerge from the Stargate. Or the Fargate, as it might be called otherwise, the legally distinct one. I've returned. Of course, I'm wearing a shirt that you all may, you may have some idea what it means or stands for. And we'll get over to Brand X. We've done plenty of Brand X coverage, okay? What I want to focus on is reading through. Let's read through how another but similar book approaches world building. What does it have to say? Is it good? Is it bunk? Is it just a bunch of sloppy tables, or I don't know, pick an outrage or pick a negative emotion, and then we're gonna get through it. Should remember what we're on 21 here. Oh, this is the Castle Keeper's Guide. This is the list of tables. In particular, here we go. This is the Castle Keeper's Guide. This is Chapter 5 for Castles and Crusades. Okay. This is put out by. There we go. This is a system put out by Troll Lord Games. They've been in the business for a hot minute. So this is stuff that is not, it's not, flavor of the month. This isn't just some passing, this isn't just some passing trend. The people who've made this and play this, they've been doing it for a while. In fact, they stream on Twitch, and they'll have world building conversations. It's great. It's a lot of fun. You choose doubt as my negative emotion? Now, just don't let it rule over you, Cleve Chan. There's a lot of life to enjoy and to celebrate. Now, I'm not going to read through everything here because in particular here, we are going to go to their world building chapter. You doubt it. It's the perfect defense. Pardon me. It's the perfect defense. Let's read through this and see what it has to say. Am I gonna snooze and I'm gonna lose? Is this compelling? Where you go, wow, I've read through the Dungeon Master's Guide, and the Dungeon Master's Guide might be a very low detail hands-free experience, for better or worse. I hope the background music's okay. We'll turn that down a little bit more. This is called a royal visit. All right. CKs, or Castle Keepers, Dungeon Masters, Game Masters, Storytellers, DM, GM, ST. Here we have CKs, Castle Keepers. Castle Keepers often overlook the nature or geography of the landscape in which they set their adventures. Yet the terrain can play an essential role in setting the game's ambiance. Even more importantly, the land itself acts as a backdrop or stage upon which your game occurs. It is important and necessary to create a world grounded in the real or believable in order to accentuate the unusual and maintain that ever-important suspension of disbelief. Oh, there we go, of disbelief. Cleve Chan, this system's written for you, my friend. Geography is the cornerstone of your world. It is also a complex matter, and this chapter can only scratch the surface by offering brief descriptions of geographical features and how environmental systems interact. With this basic knowledge and adherence to the information presented below, CKs can create a very realistic world for their game. On a world shaped like the Earth, water would have the tendency to flow toward the equator due to the world's rotation, as well as its gravity. However, a multitude of conditions impact the water's actual flow, including but not limited to global temperature variations, suns, moons, and landforms. However, it is safe to assume that generally rivers always flow downhill. Waterways encounter local landforms, which cause them to flow in many directions. As such, factors like this bear careful consideration when designing and placing rivers within any campaign world. If one spends much time outdoors, the apparent chaos of nature becomes organized, ordered, patterned, and even predictable. This is what one should strive to replicate in a world setting. If the mundane parts of your world setting make sense, then the magical, unusual, and fantastic nature of gaming becomes more believable, immersive, and real for the players. And I think that is a good thing to point out when we're talking about reality in a game. There is the meme approach of I'm trying to run a super realistic game. Well, you're also playing a fantasy game. It could be Castles and Crusades, Dungeons and Dragons, Crown and Skull. I mean, pick your poison. You want to play Shadow Dark. You want to play any number of them. Reality and fantasy are at odds with each other. This is making that excellent point that to have your fantasy elements stand out, have consistency. Because then the reality of the magical setting becomes a reality. And we're not just talking about water always flowing, as water flows to the sea, kind of a thing, right? Because maybe in your world that doesn't always happen. But there must be some sort of consistency to the backdrop that's more than just you going, oh, here's this and look how flashy this is, and oh, you think that's cool? There's another moon over here. And your players might go, oh, 2 moons, cool. What do I do with that? Well, you praise me because I have a world with 2 moons. Right, it's neat. But is it doing anything? Well, no, it's 2 moons. Okay. So, we just gonna keep playing then? Because I want to find out what's behind this door in the dungeon. So I like that point here. So where does one begin describing the world? Well, at the beginning. The World of Adventure section is set up as a design process, allowing castle keepers to design their worlds from the bottom up. This chapter begins with the planetary cycle, moves to tectonic plates and crusts, and then to erosion. These 3 steps should supply castle keepers with a basic world structure within a short period of time. Focus then shifts to identifying and describing basic landform features so that CKs can appropriately place them in their world and give structure to the whole. After this, the chapter focuses on the planet's environment and biomes, allowing for proper and consistent development. Castle keepers should enforce in all aspects a sense of realism and logical consistency in their world so that the players never lose their suspension of disbelief, which is very necessary in good fantasy storytelling. Yeah, if there is a river that flows up the mountain, that's a story. And it shouldn't just be a something you bring up and let pass. If your players are leaning forward a couple inches to the table going, the river flowing uphill into the mountain? Why? How? Where's the water going? It might actually be a mundane feature of this world, but your players don't know that, and if you get them to lean forward a little bit closer, doing a good job. Explore it. Even if their characters know it's been doing this for the past 1,000 years and it's never stopped. Okay, we'll let the character be mundane about it, but if your player is leaning forward, we're humans playing with other humans. Let's focus on that. Most worlds designed for role-playing games are similar to Earth in their makeup. Their design reflects a reality where physics, as we understand it, exists, and not alternate realities where there are no laws governing the order of things. For such worlds, the following structures do not necessarily apply, and CKs must rely upon their own devices and imagination. The world is spherical. The world spins on its axis once every 24 hours, or 23 hours and 56 minutes to be more accurate, resulting in a day. The planet revolves around a star. One or more moons may orbit the planet. All these things occur in a regular and predictable pattern, which the CK must decide upon beforehand. By the way, we have a whole workshop series doing something like this that'll take you from there was nothing to let there be light, and we build it a whole world up. I hope you can find it and enjoy it. Exclamation point YouTube if you want the link over to the channel there. The length of the year is how long in days it takes the planet to orbit the sun. For example, it takes the Earth a little over 365 days to orbit the sun. Mars takes longer and Venus less time to orbit the sun. The orbits are not perfect circles but ellipses. Earth and the other planets tilt as they spin on their axes. This tilt causes one portion of the planet's surface to face the star, while another does not. This tilt causes the seasons, and, as with other planetary matters, the seasons are rather predictable. The tilt also results in one portion of the planet being in summer and the other in winter. Now, this is something that I don't think... Hey, Hunter, good to see you. This is something that I don't think has been answered in the Song of Ice and Fire series. A lot of people out there might know it as Game of Thrones from the TV show. A feature of that world, which, if I recall, is still left kind of unexplained, is how you get years-long winters, right? Winter is coming. Or, there's the, Children of Summer and all this other stuff, right? How do you have seasons that are years long? And there are things that are mentioned in this fantasy setting about that, but that's one of the quirks. That's one of the great threats, and one of the quirks to the people who live in that world is that a season is not just a couple months. Fluffy says, I like the sky as a dome of water because that matches ancient Near East cosmology and mythology. I had in my fantasy world that I ran for my locals, there was a whole campaign that took place on a floating piece of land about the size of Alaska that was over an ocean, and it was upside down, so that the sky was the glittering water far above them. And what helped light pass through that floating continent or whatever, that big floating island. I mean, I say island or I say continent. Alaska is about 4 Ohios. Look, I exist in freedom units. I can't express myself in logical units of 10. Alaska is about the size of 4 Ohios. 2 up and down and 2 abreast. So there is for being so high up, the sun could come in at an angle and still reflect up. But all throughout this landmass were things that I called Lux spires, Lux spires, which were big glass rods that were driven down through the land that let light pass through to shine down on the ocean below. Yeah, what if seasons took several years? Asks Cleve Chan. Yeah, semi-biblical inspired water dome ideas. Fluffy Sheep says I'd be tempted to then make the setting into a ring world or an O'Neill cylinder. I'll have to look up an O'Neill cylinder. I'm familiar with the Dyson sphere, right? I'll have to look up the O'Neill cylinder. Or is an O'Neill cylinder something like what's in Mass Effect? You know, like with the Citadel, where it's sort of like a giant spinning tube of a city. So everyone just sort of like lives on the outside and the gravity's created by the spinning tube. Kind of the reverse of Animal Crossing, where everyone lives on the outside of the cylinder. All right, similar to the Citadel. Gotcha. All right. Uh-oh. I'm holding out for you, Nazira. Welcome in. Thank you for the raid. Could I get a mod to give a shout out here to Nazira while we're continuing along in our world design? Thank you very much, Raven. The seasons and the length of days are regular and predictable, and they should also be in the world designed for game purposes. Variations occur in the length of the day, year, and the seasons. As a designer, you can make days longer, shorter, or the same. In my world, it was 360 days. And you know what? There was a very round motif to everything. And there were 10 months of 60 days. Or no, wait. There were 10 months of 60 days. What am I thinking? 600. Yay! No, 360. I had it broken up. Anyway, I can pull up that cosmology because I wrote it for my players. But everything was, it all equaled circles, because that's what I was playing into behind the scenes. Whether or not my players picked up on that, yeah. A week was 10 days. No, it was a week was 10 days. There were, and then there were 6 10 days in a month. So 60 days. And so then we have 6 times 60. A week was a 10-day. That's what it was called. Variations occur in the length of the day, year, and seasons. As a designer, you can make these days longer, shorter, or the same. The years and seasons can likewise be longer, shorter, or the same. Large variations from the Earth-like scheme are entirely up to the CK, but it is not necessary to create a world dramatically different from Earth. In fact, it is best to closely emulate the Earth. Dramatic changes in size, rotation, length of days, moons, etc. dramatically change growing seasons, weather patterns, other geographic structures, etc. A slight alteration of the Earth's existing patterns is enough to indicate to the players they are playing in a different world without making the fantasy world entirely different from their everyday world. So design your world. These are suggested lengths of time for days and years. As the castle keeper, however, feel free to extend or contract these lengths of time as much as possible. So, suggestions here. The sun, any moons orbiting the planet, and the stars scattered across the night sky all play a role in developing the setting. These should, as with the rest of the world, be patterned and predictable. The stars and the sun relay precise passages of time. They also assist in finding one's way and determining direction. Without them and their patterns, these things become difficult, if not impossible. If a completely random occurrence of your world comes into play, such as the sun randomly rising in the south and setting in the north, the entire ecology of the world falls apart, and the directions become nigh on impossible to know. In developing the world, be sure to place specific astrological markers in the sky, and have events based around them as well. For example, the equivalent of the North Star, perhaps an East Star or Southeast Star, or several stars which are fairly stationary, help to solidify the world's position with respect to other planets or stellar objets. Moons with names and whose states of exposure are associated with events on the planet all work to make the setting believable. The planet's upper crust consists of plates floating upon a molten interior. The movement of the plates and their consequent collisions are responsible for many of the planet's major landforms. Although it is not necessary to map out tectonic plates and their movements, bear in mind that major landforms result from this and develop in understandable patterns. When plates collide, they form mountains. When plates pull apart, they form trenches. Most trenches are underneath the ocean, whereas mountains lie beneath the ocean and on the edges of those plates found above the ocean. These are active mountain chains which are still being created. The North American Cordillera and the Himalayas in Asia are examples of active mountain chains. Inactive mountain chains are the result of colliding planes which have melded and ceased to be actively moving plates. Erosion begins to dominate the inactive mountain chains. The Urals and the Appalachians are inactive mountain chains whose landform creation is dominantly erosion-based. Active mountain chains are replete with volcanic activity and earthquakes as the colliding plates jostle one another, shaking the earth. Vents form, fill with the molten material found beneath the earth's crust, and occasionally erupt into the surface. Essentially, two types of active mountain chains exist. There are collisions between two continental plates and between continental and ocean plates. When two continents collide, they form a fairly irregular and massive uplifts, such as the Himalayas, with narrow valleys and few, if any, upland plateau regions. When an ocean plate collides with a continental plate, cordilleras form as the subduction zone moves further from the original point of collision. Pardon me. The mountain chains tend to form in parallel patterns, with broad highland plateaus forming between the chains, such as between the Rocky Mountain chain and the Sierra Nevada chain in the North American Cordillera. In active mountain chains, the colliding edge region of the plates is active with volcanoes and earthquakes. These mountains are often characterized by extremely high mountain summits, steep slopes, narrow valleys, fast-flowing rivers with deep erosion-formed basins, like the Grand Canyon. And depending upon rock conditions, unusual rocky formations such as... You think I was going to say butts? Come on now. As one moves further from the continental collision zone, erosion becomes a dominant factor in the creation of landform features, and the Earth settles such that volcanic activity decreases and earthquakes reduce in intensity and number. Where continental plates diverge, great gorges form, and erosion processes dominate these landforms. When Amazonia split from Africa, a great trough was formed between them, and the landforms became dominated by erosive processes, resulting in the relatively flat Amazon and East African regions. When two oceanic plates collide, they form underwater mountain chains. These mountain chains are similar to those found above the ocean floor, but undergo different erosion processes. For example, there won't be a river valley basin in underwater mountain chains. These mountain chains can reach great heights, rising above the ocean floor to become island chains, such as Japan. These island chains are the tops of underwater mountains and are often associated with massive volcanoes, volcanic activity, and earthquakes. Islands occasionally form from parts of a continental plate that break off and drift some distance away from their parent, such as Madagascar on the eastern side of Africa. These islands do not have the volcanic activity and earthquakes of their volcanic cousins. Many factors go into land formation. Localized uplifts. By the way, this right here, the uplifts. The Great Lakes are, how to put this? The Great Lakes are becoming shallower. And while at first, we might say, it's, global warming or climate change, or it's, human behavior, or, it's all this other stuff. The prevailing theory as to why the Great Lakes are becoming shallower, and if you've never looked up, look at the erosion in the retreat of Niagara Falls. It's interesting. But one of the theories is it doesn't have to do with how much water Cleveland, soaks up from Lake Erie. It's that in all the years since the Ice Age that dominated this place and helped to carve out the Great Lakes, the land, those plates, were under tremendous pressure from this continental glacier that was scraping on top of it. And ever since the Ice Age had passed, and you had those bedrock layers that were just compressed and compressed and compressed under a mile of ice or whatever, right? That's a lot of weight. Any of you on the 4th of July or some other summer season, you just go and buy a bag of ice somewhere for a barbecue or a picnic. Now imagine that is covering all of Canada and a lot of, northern North America. As the glaciers retreated, the pressure on that plate has, it's like cracking your back. You kind of go, ugh. And so the rock that was underneath for all those years being compressed is actually starting to normalize out over all these hundreds, thousands of years. And as that relieved pressure here also exerts pressure and wibble wobbles everywhere else. And so it's not that the water level is necessarily going down. It's that the floor of the lakes is increasing. Anyway, localized uplifts, glaciers, weak crusts, folding and bending, and a host of other activities all affect the landscape's appearance. But continental drift explains many of the major features of the world. Belladonna says, my last game was world-centric model where the sun and moon revolved around the land. So all the world experienced the day and night at the same time. Kind of a Minecraft approach, right, Belladonna? How could you have an east star, asks Fluffy Sheep. Maybe that's what makes for great fantasy, Fluffy. Cleve-chan says, in my sci-fi setting, the precursor race came from an alternate universe where their Earth equivalent planet is a binary planet. And do the people, Cleve-chan, in your world, do they travel between the planets as they do their dance around each other in the bigger orbit? Now, I hope this is just an intro to world building here in Castles and Crusades. I hope none of your eyes were going, oh, just shut up about natural science and the process of the evolution of planets and the lands. I just want to hit stuff with swords. Do I have a book for you if that's what you want to do? If we go over to the Dungeon Master's Guide, okay? The Dungeon Master's Guide, and this is said neutrally. I'm not slamming it, and I'm not like, oh, this is the best thing ever. The DMG does not get into teaching you those kinds of fundamentals. This is a much more distant and abstract approach. If we come back up here, okay? Here we go, weather. You can pick weather to fit your campaign or roll on the weather table to determine the weather for a given day, adjusting for the terrain and season as appropriate. Here is one sentence that does, I mean, whether or not you want to say it does the work, but is taking all of this that this Castle Keeper's Guide is trying to teach you. Because you don't need environmental science degrees to understand chemical weathering, mechanical weathering, and other erosions. But if you know enough to be dangerous, you are presenting that consistency of backdrop. And you can come across as a bit of a smarty pants too. This is a much more cerebral, academic approach. This is actually looking to teach you, and if you already know, to reinforce that there are these forces that maybe a lot of you don't, you know the word, but you don't understand how it functions. And so it's holding your hand through here and providing you these real life examples. And we'll still read through here, but take a look at this. Here's a whole area on climate. And is it a tropical moist climate? Are you running a game where all of your adventurers are moist? Is this a dry mid-latitude climate? Look at all of this. This is talking about climate, and weather is a part of climate, though don't conflate climate with weather. Tropical and subtropical dry broadleaf forest. Tropical and subtropical coniferous forest. Pardon me. Sorry, it's kind of dry. I have a humidifier running, but it is what it is. Taiga, Mediterranean forest, woodlands and scrub, oceanic islands. And look at this. We come over here into look at these biomes. You know how many biomes there are in the Dungeon Master's Guide? Here's a hint, okay? We're going to go to the Player's Handbook. And we're going to go to page 68. Here are your biomes. There are 8 of them. And the Dungeon Master's Guide, when it talks about weather, normal for the season, precipitation, light rain or light snowfall, heavy rain or heavy snowfall. This is a lot more abstract, or it's really just it's putting a lot of this on you. which is fine. I'm not saying that this is a bad approach, but if you look at the presentations, the differences between D&D and CnC, you can, your players are not going to be interested that you spent an hour as the castle keeper, as the DM, GM, ST, or CK in this whatever. Your players aren't going to be interested in seeing your detailed chart about a subtropical coniferous forest. You have that at your disposal, however, that you can roll that in particular in order to provide a greater verisimilitude of where you're at in that world, instead of just keeping it, because what's the default D&D? D&D comes with a baked-in expectation, and it allows for more than this. It absolutely does. The baked-in expectation is you are in a Western European late Renaissance-ish fantasy world. That is the D&D starting point. This is where all the presumptions are made. You are in a Western European late Renaissance fantasy era. And if we all accept that is default generic D&D time and place and area and whatever, then you can absolutely get away with a streamline. Yeah, it's 1d4 times 10 degrees Fahrenheit, hotter or colder or whatever, right? But if you want to build a world that has more nuance, or at least you as the CK want to understand the mechanics of your world more, so that you don't hold it out in front of your players and say, yeah, I spent an hour on a subtropical broadleaf forest weather chart. Because your players, and especially the characters, are going to give zero poos about that. However, when you're presenting your world and you are able to make those sorts of determinations more quickly because you're confident in the area, you're confident in learning how your world works, then what you present as the norm, even if it is fantastic to us, but it's the norm for the characters, it comes out more smoothly. So this is a lot more of an intellectual take. This is one that might be teaching many of you. This might be teaching you many things that you didn't know, or, yeah, I remember that from natural sciences and, I don't know, pick an education level. But now how can you incorporate that into a world that you are creating? There is nothing in this book that has been written so far that means you cannot build you don't have to base this in Night City for Cyberpunk. What would a Cyberpunk game look like if you were in a place more like Anchorage, Alaska? What would that be? It'd be like Anchorage by RGB light or something. If you have so and so by Gaslight, or in World of Darkness you have like Cleveland by night. What would these different locations in a cyberpunk setting be? Would it be like Cleveland by RGB? Because even neon is kind of an outdated thing. Neon is more like diesel punk going into sort of cassette aesthetic sci-fi. Although we might associate neon with stuff like cyberpunk, it might actually be more like RGB. The whole city looks like a lot of your gamer cases out there for your computers. But all of this, plate tectonics doesn't care if you're swapping out eyeballs with a beholder or a night hag, or with a cybernetic replacement. Cleveland by LED, there we go. Or if we want to be even fancier, Cleveland by OLED. Not even LED, but OLED. So as you can see, if you know generally where is your story taking place in fantasy or sci-fi, look at this. This has so many wonderful references. What's an example of, a tropical and subtropical coniferous forest? This forest type receives lower rainfall than the above forests and is generally located in higher elevations, but resides within the tropical temperature zone. Pine and oaks dominate the tropical and subtropical coniferous forest. These forests do not support as large a plant community as other tropical forests due to the low rainfall and poorly developed plant communities on the ground. It is home to many unique animals which have adapted to local conditions. These forests have dry and wet seasons. What about Mediterranean forest, woodlands, and scrub? This would apply to the Mesotopia region that we created in our first year of workshops here. It was pretty much a rip. Instead of a boot for Italy, we had a mask, and that became Mesomasca. So what's the note on places like this? What should I have known more about for an area such as our Mediterranean, our Mesotopia? This is a temperate zone typified by hot, dry summers and mild, rainy winters. These regions contain a vast array of subzones and mosaic ecosystems, from thick forests to open savanna/shrubland, experiencing great variation in small regions. It had that. Both coniferous and deciduous forests thrive in this zone. Fires also regularly occur in this biome. The biome supports a wide variety of plant and animal life, with many species being specific to one area. So you want to randomly roll because you want a starting point, or where do they find the next piece of the treasure? Well, there you go. And this is getting into a lot more detail than what we see here, where this is your note on the weather with a couple extra notes which really delve into more mechanics of extreme cold, extreme heat, strong wind, high altitude. So a lot in here is shifted onto you. And that might be fine. Or people at the table may not know or care that you've done a lot more subtle research. They're more worried about, well, am I getting a mechanical detriment? I don't care that there's a Mediterranean nuthatch that only exists here and is the town's mascot. That's a lot of world building you did, and it makes sense, and it backs up everything you've created in this unique area. Your players might go, well, that's cool, but how am I getting treasure? Or whatever. Or they're so into your story. I don't want to sound pessimistic. They're so into your story that they don't care about the local nuthatches. They gotta save the world. I feel fortunate that I was able to include some very distinct local birds in my setting. If you know, you know. Pardon me. But look, for as much as we're talking about science and we're talking about this, Castles and Crusades is still a game about fantasy. You can have these, you can have airships, you can have these, no one in real life would build a castle like this. I say as there might actually be one, but no one in real life would build a castle like this, right? Well, it looks cool because we are pretty certain that this wouldn't exist in real life. So we're still allowed to have fun in the fantasy. By the way, if you're making maps, a dale is another word for valley. It is usually associated with low valley sides, lush growth, and plenty of water. You know, there's the Dale lands in Forgotten Realms and such. You know, oftentimes we might fall into the, well, you know, how do I name this? Well, I already have the Northern Swamp. I can't have the Southern Swamp, even though Southern Swamp would be better because S&S is more memorable than N. So, all right, I'll call it the Southern Swamp and the northern bog. And in the west, because everyone who plays my game knows of West Marches, I'll call them the West Marshes. There's actually differences in what all of those things are. So we do it for maybe ease of remembering, but if you really do want to, yeah, so here we go. We have bayous and bogs, fens, marshes, moors, peatlands, and swamps. All right, let's take a quick look. Wetlands maintain high levels of water all year long, or at the very least, become engorged with seasonal rain or snow. These areas are not restricted to lowlands, as mountainous waterways can experience intense levels of precipitation and runoff as well. Wetlands suffer from thick, soup-like soil that retains moisture. Many wetlands include small pools, ponds, and interconnected water canals separated by areas of thicker, rocky soil or vegetation. A bayou, a marshy area around a lake, sea, or other body of water, usually stagnant or, at the very least, sluggish. In the United States, where do we usually see the term bayou? And why do we usually see it there? A bog, an area of wet, spongy ground with deep mosses and poor deterioration. Thick, sodden vegetation covers the surface of the bog. A fen. These flat, marshy lands have high water tables and sedge grasses. A marsh. These treeless areas of waterlogged soils and shallow water allow bushes and low plants to grow in profusion. Marshes reside near lakes, slow-moving rivers, and low-lying regions. What about a moor? The moors of the UK. A large area of land with poor drainage, where heath and peat moss forms or grows in abundance. Moors are usually damp, swampy, and foggy. Peatlands. Peat consists of highly organic material, such as swamp grass, that is partially decayed. Peat forms in damp, marshy areas and is very useful as fuel. Peatlands are marshy areas where a great deal of peat has formed. Swamp. Similar to a marsh, except enough soil has accumulated to allow trees adapted to perennial flooding and waterlogged soils to grow. Swamps can occur on coasts or inland. To most of us who are normies to these geographical or geological terms, a swamp is a marsh, a moor is a fen. It's just, well, do we want to sound fancy, right? You know, I don't know, when was the last time any of you had peatlands or peat swamps in your fantasy world? You know, a bayou, a bog. These are synonyms to most of us. Though with a document like this, with the Castle Keeper's Guide, as you are thinking about your land and you need to describe an area to your players, this is doing a lot more for you, because now the power of a descriptive word such as a moor carries a mood and a tone even more than a swamp or a bayou does. If we come back here, this is what you get. A swamp is a swamp is a swamp, and whether you're a druid of the peatlands, which druids in many cases would have been, you find a lot of peatlands in Scotland. In fact, there is a what's the whiskey? There's a whiskey where, for purposes of distilling, they only use peat as a fuel source because it's a part of the process. And so you'll never find this whiskey. You'll never find this whiskey made any other way except by using peat. But the distillery is located right on the edge of peatlands. They go out with shovels and they'll just scoop up peat for the day and throw it into their furnace. It's to do they use it to smoke the? They might use it to smoke the grains, or at least to dry the grains and add a little bit of a flavor to it. I forget exactly which, so forgive me for that. But so here in D&D, this is what you get. You get darkness and Melf's acid arrow. Now, acidity can come into play with the pH of a water. Water walk, stinking cloud. You're like, I get it. Swamp gas, freedom of movement. Okay, because you're stuck in the mud. Locate creature, because it could be hiding under the water or something. Insect plague and scrying. So thematically, this might even go into apply to almost all these. But what if in your world, because you have a greater understanding of the differences between a swamp and a moor, a moorish, a mori? That's a mori. A druid of the moor in your world might have a different spell selection than a druid of the swamp. Because just by reading these sentences, let alone going to, a credible information site or other source, a book, I think they're called. Weird. One syllable? Book? We don't even pronounce them how they're spelled. I don't know. This newfangled language that kids use these days. Books. Whatever those are. You might want to adjust this. In fact, the druids in your peatlands, because this is used for fuel, might actually have some fire powers instead of just being like, haha, acid arrow because of swamps and black dragons, or oh, the water's gross and icky, and Magic the Gathering is swamps are decay and death. And so this distills, speaking of whiskey, this distills a lot of information, whereas here you're reading a lot. In fact, here's not even just climate, where we're talking about moist grassy areas. Now, instead of just climate, here is something weather. Here's a note on role playing weather. It is unlikely players will detect weather patterns or variances in the game world unless the castle keeper has developed some detailed weather system which the characters pass through enough to allow them to begin detecting the pattern. Couple that with the complexity of creating a real-world model of weather and its internal consistency based on celestial bodies, and the castle keeper often finds it easier to simply just roleplay the weather conditions for any given game as they occur. This is easily done and does not require much effort or tracking on the CK's part. Temperatures and precipitation vary greatly from one region to the next, even in zones located at the same longitude on the globe. Elevation, trade winds, stellar activity, cloud cover, humidity, bodies of water, and many other factors all affect a region's average temperature. I can tell you the weather here around Sandusky, Ohio is different. If you travel just not even all the way to Cleveland, you could probably go to the halfway point around Elyria, which is about 30 miles east. Elyria is a city about halfway between Sandusky and Cleveland. Once you get to Elyria and beyond, you have entered what's called the snow belt, because that area in the winter gets dumped on for snow, because the winds coming down from Canada and across from Michigan, all these terrible places. I'm just kidding, Bane. Any Canadians watching? But we get things called Alberta Clippers that move, and it's a weather system. Anyway, because it blows down, across the other lakes, but by then those sides of those lakes also have their own snow belts. But especially over Lake Erie, there's so much humidity that's picked up by the winds blowing in from the west that it then starts freezing, and it dumps snow from, we could say Cleveland, but it's a little bit further. So we'll say Elyria out to Buffalo, New York. Okay. That's a great big snow belt. I'm not that far away. And we do get some lake effect snow, but it's nothing like what the snow belt can get on the same day. Cleveland's not exactly, I can get there very quickly, right? I don't need passports. I'm not in a jet flying forever. But and yet they are going to have a lot more snow than we will. And you're going to find a lot more wine growers around this Firelands area, of Lake Erie, going to the west, out towards Toledo. Because the lake in this portion acts as insulation against a lot of harsh temperatures and weather, and it makes it easier and more beneficial to grow grapes. And so this part of Ohio is a winery region. And it is how it is. And the soil around here is excellent for farming, because thousands of years ago in the Ice Age, the glaciers ground up all these minerals and just left them there after saturating it with pure water. So the muck around here is chef's kiss. Like, oh man, there's a bunch of farmers in Ohio. Have you seen our soil? There's a reason for it. And especially with proper crop cycling and fallowing and all this other stuff, everything is great for what is happening in that area. Anyway, so as you can see, there's a lot here. Average monthly temperature, there's a lot of charts. If you love charts, there are way more charts here. A lot of minutia you could accept and adopt, or you can ignore, and you say, you know what, I really would just prefer this, because I don't need it. I don't need to be taught these lessons or anything like that. I know my world, or I really don't care about the weather patterns, because I'm probably never going to describe them anyway, unless there's some mechanical benefit for a heist or something. And then the weather becomes a gimmick. So you can see that the DMG is a lot more stripped down. Whereas by investing in a book like this, you're walking away with an associate's degree in several natural sciences. Movement rates in mountains, in, at various elevations. This is amazing information that Troll Lord Games is entrusting to you to understand, read, have a sense of curiosity about, because you might not use everything that's here, but now it's here for you to use. And you can use this in Cyberpunk, and you can use this in Dungeons and Dragons, and you're not even playing Castles and Crusades, because this is giving you an excellent, I mean, it's in Castles and Crusades. This is darn near system agnostic. What's the technology level? Because maybe not everything in your world exists yet. You might tell your players we're playing in an age where plate armor hasn't been invented yet. Look at this. Here are some great references. Are you in the Iron Age? Well, all weapons are available in the Iron Age, but they are not as strong as steel and only slightly stronger than bronze. The weapons are easy to sharpen and repair. Armor consists of banded and splint mail, as well as simple forms of chainmail, leather, helmets, and similar items. Complicated pieces such as plate mail are not available to these societies. You will never find this in a game in D&D. If it's in the player's handbook, there's an expectation. Now, you don't have to capitulate to it by the players, but there is an expectation that all this armor is available, and this is the tech level we're playing at. And the only thing that I might be willing to not push for is black powder weapons, or even more advanced weapons than just black powder. But look at this, taking us through the ages. Have you tried running? Have you ever tried running a Mesoamerican campaign setting? Greco-Roman? The Renaissance? Although in this case, here in the Renaissance, all armor and weapons are available, including firearms and cannons. Equipment, all items from the player's handbook are available. Clothing. Dress is more complicated in these societies. Hose generally replaces pants, and shirts replace the more common tunic. Vests, hats, cloaks, and capes are common. Wealthy men wear hose, tunics, and cloaks, which are often elaborately embroidered. Wealthy women wear floor-length, cone-shaped dresses. Common men wear pants and shirts, and common women wear thick wool dresses. Culture. And you know what? If you like this and you just drop this in your game, cool. If you go, whoa, my sensibilities are offended, I would never. So change it. Use that as a starting point and make it your world from there. This is just giving you a synopsis of what you would find on a broad average. The Renaissance Society is very similar to the Greco-Roman one in that it emphasizes academic pursuits. This allows for a wide variety of written and spoken languages. The printing press and movable type make books very common. There's an argument that your fantasy world, like a bigger hinge, is not even black powder, but does the printing press and movable type exist? That was such a huge thing for mankind. All spells are available for spellcasters, magic, and treasure, so you can you can look in here. So what would be the difference then? Well, wait a minute. So if we go to Greco-Roman, almost any weapons are available other than pole arms. Tridents, short swords, bows, javelins, and slings are all in common use. Armor consists of leg and arm greaves, breastplates, large helms, and a variety of shields. Chainmail is almost non-existent, and plate is not available. Equipment. The advanced nature of Greco-Roman societies allows for a wide variety of equipment. All items from the player's handbook are available. Gets into clothing and culture. All the spells are available here. Now, is there an area where all spells are not available, I wonder? Nope, still back in Bronze Age. So here, if you're running Stone Age, there's a in the Castles and Crusades consideration for magic. Spell use is limited to very simple wizard and illusionist spells of first and second level. However, druids would have their full complement of spells. Shamans could have up to 4th level clerical spells. Adjust this in your world, ignore it completely, and have all spells be available, or say, you know what? Throughout the ages, as people do become more learned, or they have these increasing notions of society, or things like law and chaos, or good and evil, or something, maybe magic developed alongside the population. I may not do it like this, where it's broken up by class, but I could see that in my world, maybe it was only recently that 7th level spells are just now being discovered and studied and tested. And of course, they're way more destructive than the spells beforehand were. A 7th level spell in an era where 6th level beforehand was the maximum, and even then, probably not a lot of people were casting 6th level spells. You've invented, the nuclear bomb. You are the Oppenheimer because you invented a 7th level spell where none existed before. Society isn't ready for 7th level spells. Though I will say what I really enjoy in the Dungeon Master's Guide is it doesn't talk about that specifically, but it does say if you don't want to play with high level spells, all spells cap at 5th level. You still get spell slots to cast them more to cast basic spells more powerfully, but the advanced manifestations of 6th and higher level spells don't exist. So keep your spell slots, but an alternate way to play D&D is that only normal spells between levels 1 and 5 exist. You can just upcast them. If by only changing that one thing in your world, that's a dramatic power shift. Especially if the good guys are playing by the rules and only have access to spell levels 1 through 5. They might be upcasting them through 7th level spell slots. But what if the big bad guy has become the destroyer of worlds and has invented a 7th level spell? Yeah, Big Sam says, imagine a world where 6th level spells are rare and Rakshasa is the BBEG. Excellent. Because then that person is invincible until someone adapted to the situation and found the Rakshasa killer, right? Yeah, or Cleave-chan, or the reverse, magic is weakening. Any of the World of Darkness games, if you're playing Mage, which is one of the 3 big systems, you have Vampire, Werewolf, and Mage. Mage explores that really well. Mage absolutely explores that really well, Cleave-chan. But can you imagine this? And before we, I know we passed our ad time, but before I take a little break here, imagine spells coming out like graphics cards do today, where we sit back and we wonder, oh man, what's I wonder what next year's spell spell slot is going to be. And then you have a bunch of wizards sitting back and going, I don't know, like, yeah, you have these 7th gen spells that are coming out, but honestly, the return on mana, I don't know if it's really worth upgrading. In all honesty, if you've been rocking 5th level spells this whole time, I wouldn't suggest investing in a 7th gen spell, because the power to performance just isn't there for you. you're much better right now, at least until the the 7th Gen Plus comes out. You're much better off just upcasting your old 5th level spells. And that might sound silly, and hopefully it made some of you laugh. Those are the conversations that would be that an equivalent would be had. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of tentative. Like I see what the new 6th gen spell has. I'm having trouble just justifying 5th level spells. Honestly, I use 2nd level spells for 90% of my work. So I get it, Enwizia, Enwizia put, of course, every year it's going to be the next slot of spells, but I don't really think I need the next Enwizia spell. Like, I'm really getting along with my good old 2nd level spells. Maybe, you know what? I could imagine a wizard, a highly specialized wizard would absolutely adopt this. And if they have the money to invest in those spells in the spell book, I mean, it's limited industrial use, really. But over time, of course, it'll get more cheaper for the average spell consumer to afford. Fluffy Sheep says, I think the latest ruling was that upcast spells do work on Rakshasas, but point taken. Chin says, in my fantasy setting, the level of magic fluctuates between the ages. Artifacts from ages when magic was heightened are extremely powerful and are much harder to counteract in ages of lower magic. If I recall correctly, the Harry Potter universe also faces this dwindling magic. Magic almost as a resource that is dwindling, or modern wizards are becoming less powerful than the older ones are. Anyway, let's get up, let's stretch, refresh ourselves, we'll take a break, and when I come back, I have some minis to give away. What's that about? Did you come in during this conversation and you're not sure minis to give away? I will explain it when we're back. But for right now, hold on tight. One thing at a time. Okay, I've returned. I am refreshed, as I hope you all are as well. We will take a quick break from the workshop, and priming ourselves for things in order to do a giveaway of minis. What? What is that about? Well, let me go over to our Discord. Earlier tonight, Coffee Cat Presents sponsored a box of minis. However, wanted me to give the box of minis to someone else. So, that was a very generous thing to do. And I'll talk about this, and hopefully I'll shill it after I go into what is the winner going to get? 6 minis plus a combination, an extra combination that, as I'm trying to deplete the minis that I have in the orphanage here. I gotta get stuff moved out of the second office before the end of the month as much as possible. Anyway, so the other 4 minis are either going to be 4 kind of standard minis, 2 larges or 2 larges and 2 standard, or a huge and a standard. All different rarities, common, uncommon, and you're getting the minis cheaper than I can buy them. Especially considering that they have free shipping to you to a US address. So that is one of the giveaway premises, is that all prizes won have free shipping to a US address. If you need it shipped outside the US, you are responsible to pay any of the postage or other taxes your country levies on it, all right? Now, the other aspect to a giveaway is you must be 18 plus to get in on it. Not that any of these minis are adult. If you want one of those, I could print one for you, but that's a side conversation. You have to be 18 plus just so I know we're all adults in the room talking. All right? Now, whoever wins this box will get the minis, but Coffee Cat is keeping the registration for the Gargantuan Tiamat giveaway. 100 boxes, 100 entries. One of the people who support a box is going to win a pre-painted mini about the size of a house cat, the 5-headed dragon, as a thank you for helping me clear these minis out. Anyway, 18 plus, free US shipping. Let's open up Box O Minis. It costs 0 experience to get in, and everyone can get 1 ticket by typing in !ticket or !enter. So I'll keep this open for a bit while I talk about it. Over here in Discord, Discord, it's in the Adopt-a-thon. This is both to raise money for the rent and other supplies of I'm going down from 2 offices to 1 because one of my offices is cursed, and also all last year I bled money out running the channel. The channel was running red all year. I still showed up, I still streamed with you all, I stayed as positive as possible because I enjoy your all's company. I enjoy interacting with you all, meeting with you all, through here, or if I ever got to see you in person. I ate those costs all year long, and I can't do that again this year. I'm tapped, okay? So, as I go down from 2 offices to 1, I have to make room. I have a lot of minis that need homes. If you can help me give them homes, you're getting them at a huge price advantage. And this is one way to act as a fundraiser for the channel so that hopefully I don't have to bleed out all year long again. Because if I have to, I'm not trying to sound like an a-hole or offering an ultimatum. If I bleed out this year, I'm done. I cannot do this anymore. So I'm trying. I'm finding ways to innovate. I'm finding ways to engage. This is one such way. Is this content that you enjoy? Do you want to support someone like me? I'm not partisan. I'm not a shill for a party or a corporation. I offer you all communication and humor and thoughtful thinky thoughts. Does the world need more of this? If you can, not even just financially, subscribe, share the channel. Share it with others, please. I want this place to grow. I have a huge event planned for when we hit 5K followers. We're 800 away. I can't grow it without your all's help. This has to be the year. This is the make or break year. And I'm also open for feedback and other things. So anyway, I'm going to keep this open. The other thing is I'm looking for a vampire. I'm running Vampire the Masquerade on these days at these times. And only one person so far has signed up. I have one spot open. So if the odds feel stacked against you, I don't know. I guess don't apply, but I would love for a lot of people who want to learn a new system or get in on something, right? Because right now it is just Binary Dark who has thrown the hat in. So give that a look, because hey, I'm interested. Please consider me, Matt Senpai. That closes this Saturday during the stream. And then I will choose from among, well, right now, the person who's applied. But give this a read, give it a look. And up here in Hero Zone events, if you can help out, not even right now, over time, maybe you're getting your tax return in next week, or, you know, over the course of several weeks. I want to sell these 100 boxes of minis. I want to raise these funds. I want to insulate the channel. If I have minis left over, I'm going to think of something else to do. Oh, all right.
Ohne im Eis.
All right, Big Slim. We are 1/10 of the way sold through of these boxes. They'll have randomized minis of all shapes and sizes. There's going to be rare ones in there that the rare on the market might be worth $10 itself. You could get a $50 dragon for all I know in your box. And you'd make money if you resell the minis in some marketplace. I need them gone. I need them out to houses who can give them a good home. I hope that's you all. All right. This has been open for 5 minutes. So I will do a countdown from 20 and close entries. 15 of you have entered. And this is to win one spot in the 100 box giveaway of minis here. I guess it's not really a giveaway, but it's a fundraising event for the channel. Okay? And if you have any questions on this, please ask. I want you all to be comfortable. If you're new here, I am not a fly-by-night operator of this stuff. These aren't janky, snot-covered minis. These are freshly cracked out of the box. And they've been sitting in a drawer to hopefully turn over to people over time. So these are ready to go. This is a part of a legitimate business. This isn't a hoax, a flim-flam scam, or anything. This is supporting a small brick-and-mortar ma-and-pa business. Yeah, thank you, Sierra. It's not coding costs extra, but it is available. All right. The countdown begins. I'm going to close entries to. We have 16 people in on it, and then we're gonna see who wins the box. Remember, Coffee Cat is keeping the side entry for the Gargantuan Tiamat, so the winner is going to get the minis instead. Here we go. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 11, 10, 9. Yeah, I was counting through that. Either that or my brain just skipped on the rhyme and went from 11 to 7. Anyway, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Closing the giveaway. 16 of you have entered. One of you will win this not this box, but a randomized box of minis in this ongoing fundraising event. Are you ready? Are you ready, kids? This new keyboard I have doesn't have a wrist pad, so I can't do the tap on it like I did with my old one. I'll try it up here. So here we go. The winner, I hope you can hear that. The winner of the box of minis is going to none other than someone who totally isn't a mimic. Draw a winner. It's Artemis Rose Moon. Let me see those conga rats up there. Por favor. Now, those of you out there, if you want to give, if you say, look, I don't need any more minis, but I would love to help other people get minis, you can do what Coffee Cat did, and you can sponsor boxes, and I will give them away on your behalf. I will give them away on your behalf. If you want to hold on to the Tiamat entry, you can. You're the one who bought the entry, okay? If you instruct me to pass that along also to the winner, I will do that. But by default, you keep the Tiamat entry, and the winner of the box of minis gets the box of minis. So if you don't want minis for yourself, you can be generous and sponsor boxes to go to other people. All right, that is marked done and dusted. All the rules are here in the Adopt-a-thon. You know what? While I'm here, I might as well show off for those of you who are newly arrived to the channel. There are some new emotes on the horizon, and I'm gonna show them off real quick. You ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And there we go. So there's some stuff on the horizon for you. Cleve Chan, did you blink? Did you blink? If so, you missed it again. What is wrong with you, Cleve Chan? Ah, damn shame. Damn shame, Cleve Chan. By the way, all of these are emotes that are available to you in chat as well. All you have to do is what Heretic Trance did here. And if you're a fan of rats, there you go. There's a bunch of rats for you. All right, it is a little after midnight, and I think we can continue on here in our world building exploration. So now that we've given away the box of minis, oh hey Hunter, we just had a giveaway for a box of minis. I'm doing an adopt-a-thon. I'll bring it up real quick if you're just coming back from it. Let's open up our Discord. So over here, in order to raise funds for the channel to get through the year, I have a lot of minis that I really need to get a home for. I have drawers and drawers filled with minis. So if you or others, Hunter, would be interested in buying minis at a generous bulk rate, I am making these bulk boxes at minis below cost, and everyone who enters is also everyone who gets a box also gets an entry for a gargantuan pre-painted Tiamat. And Hunter, if you wanted boxes for yourself, you can get them, or if you said, hey, you know what, I'm going to sponsor 3 boxes, I'll keep 1, and I want you to give away 2. That's what we just finished doing. Is Coffee Cat kept the entry to Tiamat, but gave the minis as we randomly drew to Artemis Rose Moon. So this is an ongoing thing. It's a fundraiser for the channel to help me get through the year, because last year can't happen again. And as I need to move 2 offices into 1, I gotta get homes for these minis. So over time, Hunter, if you or others here can help with that, if I have kobolds, the boxes are randomized. If you want kobolds specifically, I might be able to work with you on a specific loadout, but it wouldn't be at the bulk rate. It would be at another at I guess more of a market rate. But I believe I do have kobolds if you need some kobolds. But if you need minis, if there are if there's other players, or if you pass that up the chain over to any of the other bad friends, I'm having a big clearance on a bunch of minis, from expensive rares to commons that you'd find. Here's some Sahagin and other things. Large minis, huge minis, everything from tiny, medium, small. All of them need homes. So I think it's the best way to meet people halfway. Let me unload my minis on you. You get a bunch of minis, and you're helping me to not go out of business this year by broadcasting. So if you want to send me a message for a private selection, Hunter, you may. Otherwise, this is it's sort of a random grab bag, and it won't be all filled with just junk or the same mini over and over again. As I state up here, if you buy several boxes, like, you might get 2 boxes, and the largest could be an owlbear and a djinn, and then the other box has an owlbear and a merid. You have 2 owlbears because you bought 2 boxes, but you will not have a box that has 2 owlbears in it. So you won't get repeating minis. Do you trust me to give you an interesting selection of minis that you can use? All right. Let's close this out. And we're going to bring up our exercise here. Now, what I am going to be doing is this is Noctis.
A box from the Adopt-a-thon von mi, por favor.
You got it, Noctis. You are in number 11. It didn't show up here, but you're on the list. You can see it on Discord. That sort of public accounting makes sure that everyone's on board, right? And any of you, while I'm streaming, or even if you don't, as long as you let me know that you did it, I'll look at the alerts, even if I'm off stream, and I'll make sure you're taken care of and listed, okay? All right. From a conversation earlier in the year, it was brought up that, if I can bring this, I can bring this up. This is in loading. Bring this over here and open up. It was brought up that that some of you might be interested in playing in another ongoing campaign with me. In which case, why don't we create a region for adventure? Or that, some of you might be interested if I were to write some kind of a supplement or a book, because I'd like to think I know what I'm talking about after all this time. And while the mascots themselves are not necessarily, I mean, some of you might have a favorite. Sierra Echo, you might really like Biddy. A couple of you out there seem to like the Goblin for some reason. But you might be more interested if I wrote a setting where the mascots existed, but not necessarily have it be mascot centric. When I was planning for the event here, let's see if I can bring it up. So you can see there was a basic area of a map, and in fact, this is going to be a lot better. Yeah, after this goes out, I'm going to let it play. And I think what we can use as a base, let's use this area that I made up where apparently the mascots live. And we can do some exercises around it. So you can see we have some biomes here. A cave, mountains, and a lake. You're going to see a zoomed out version here shortly. All right. This is it's not the entirety of the map. You don't see it yet. But you can see that as I made this area, there's different places for adventure to happen. We have mountains, we have a river, we have a lake, we have a wilderness fort, we have a city, and we have this little log cabin where the two main mascots live and hang out and train together. A bunch of open farm fields and such. All right, now as you can see, look at that. We have a plains fight. Rachel, you're going to come up or you're just going to claw at me? Come on. Come on. There we go. All right. Yeah, people will be able to see in a moment. So there is this whole map. There's a city. You get to see little glimpses of the city. Then, of course, they make it into these dark woods, and where X marks the spot, there's an old temple in the woods, because, of course, why wouldn't there be? And so, if we take an idea, a broad idea like this, what can we do? What can we do with a quick idea like this? What are some details that we could apply to the area? And this goes to a more tropical climate that we can worry about later. So if we close this and you see, we have a cat butt. You can't quite see the butt, but we do have the originator of the cat butt emote here on the stream. He is in my lap. He needed to spend some time. Thank you, Fluffy. Well, this is the second. It's the second round, Fluffy Sheep. So none of the heads are derpy this time. Tiamat was a lot angrier and more determined this time around. Seems like a world where the mascots once lived. What are you implying, Cleve Chan? What are you implying? Yeah, things happened in that cutscene. There's a lot now. As much as I said, blink and you miss it, Cleve Chan, for the previews of the new emotes that are going to be coming around. There's a lot that went into that animatic, where if you blink, you will miss it. But there are details that tell a story that is much greater than what is apparent if you're just watching surface level. And I guess that's a lesson in storytelling as well, as a DM, GM, ST, or in the case of Castles and Crusades, as a CK, as a castle keeper. And in fact, you know what? I will bring up something that maybe it's obvious. I mean, no one's ever commented on it, though there's Easter eggs in this thing that not a lot of people have. So they're leaving the cabin, they're leaving the cave, they're traveling. Very much blink and you miss it, because this scene is up for maybe 2 seconds. It's a bit of a long blink. What's happening here, Cleve Chan? Does this indicate anything in particular? Might be indirect. Well, in a sense, if we look, the Griffin was living in a cabin by the lake, over to a little fort in the wilderness. Is there anything that you know from other sources about the Griffin that might indicate both why he received a message from Biddy and why is it? See, Biddy got this. There's a letter and a map, right? There's a fort, the lake, blah, blah, blah. And it looks like he's leaving to go to the fort. But people are saluting him. Troops are saluting him. What does that tell you? Anyway, things to think about. This exercise isn't about the movie, but I promise you all, there's a ton of it's not even unspoken. There's just a lot about the story of the characters that I've been slowly growing over time. That if you blink, you miss it, and it's okay that you do, but it's there if you really like looking for things, making those connections. None of those pages were accidentally drawn. Coffee Cat didn't have oops, I slipped and spent 30 minutes drawing this page. Anyway, you don't know anything about the mascots, Cleve Chan? There's nothing about them on our Discord or in our emotes or in anything. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, everyone. This is now a cat petting stream. Look at this boy. Oh, look at this boy. How wonderful is this? What a life. What a life. Meh, 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 meh. All right, are you leaving? What are we doing? I got to do this workshop, Bubba. Come on. Thank you. Lap or floor? What's it going to be? Come on. All right, thank you. All right. Let's move on, shall we? Play some background music here. All right. Now, as you can see, I have the stripped down version of DnD. And this can work. Now, I will make one for Castles and Crusades. And as you can see, we can also just go back and we can ask ourselves these questions because Castles and Crusades has a lot of excellent things to think about for your world, for your setting. You know, what's happening in it. And here's even a whole place about cities. How does the settlement work? How does the economy work here? Culture, historical references. This is wonderful stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing, not yet. We'll get to it. And by the way, I'm not sponsored by Troll Lord Games or anything, but I'm very happy to have the books and to teach and promote it because, wouldn't you know, there are more role-playing games out there than just D&D. D&D is a great start. It's a good thing to go back to. I'm wearing a D&D shirt right now. point of the exercise isn't to just, oh, that Matt dude totally just dissed Dungeons and Dragons. We're winning the culture war. I'm not interested in that. What I'm interested in is showing you all resources that will empower you to not just play other games, but read Castles and Crusades, take away this excellent system agnostic advice, and run an awesome D&D game with it if you really want to. Support another publisher. And if you say it's a smaller game, or like I like the spirit and the corporate culture of these people, more cool. I don't know those lines in the sand for you. Or say, oh man, I really like D&D. I want to play fantasy, but I really just can't with Paizo or Wizards or something, right? Well then, have you considered Castles and Crusades? It's an option. Anyway, so we have this, and we'll come back and revisit this, because this can add, in fact, if we use the 2 books, there's a lot that can be added to from these charts. Look at this. This is my bread and butter. Look at this: social class and purchasing power, economics in the game world. This is my territory. This is the stuff that makes me geek out. Oh, have a good night, Sierra. Do I have... There we go. This is me when it comes to economics and this sort of consideration. Now, I might be able to come up with a simple workshop, a simple worksheet for CnC, like I have for D&D that you've seen us use for cities or wilderness or other things. But for tonight, why don't we have ourselves a good time? Okay, we're gonna start simple, and let's go with what we know about. Let's go with what we know about our setting. We had a map. We have things that are there. In fact, we won't even start with the lone, whether it's a lone log cabin or it's just a little lakeside village. Just a little farming village or something that maybe the mascots are sort of living out in. Let's start with that city. Terrain types we do normally roll for, and as we saw in D&D, everything is kept pretty simple. There are 8 biomes in D&D. You might arguably say a city, but rangers and druids, at least by default, don't have any sort of specialties or mechanics, which is why we stuck to these 8. Now the city has a river flowing through it and is surrounded by plains. So in this case, while we would normally roll it, let's fill in what we have at first. Let's go. I guess we could say that it is coast. It's a river, but roll with it. Coast and grassland. So in D&D terms, if you have a druid or ranger who lives around that central city area, they would be more likely to have these abilities, or to go through that area. Now, the form of government, beyond being taken over by cultists at some point, or at least being infested by them and eventually taken over by Tiamat, that's alluded to later, is that she took over the city and was ruling it with an iron claw. What is this city in other times? Well, here we have forms of government. Now, this book does give you at least a couple sentence blurb about it. Urban Ranger definitely works, but Uh, but fruids, not so much. Fruit druids, yes. Fluffy Sheep, will you please type exclamation point 1D100 and let me know what is in this mock-up of this central city, because we can have the whole region start coming to life through this process. Stops on a 44. 44 in this case, it's a gerontocracy. Elders preside over this society. In some cases, long-lived races such as elves or dragons are entrusted with the leadership of the land. Hi. We have the other cat visiting now. She's here to look in your souls and judge them. Excellent. Are you happy with that? Yeah, we have a council of elders who are currently running this central city in our fantasy area. Now, if I or we don't like these results, you know what? We can always choose off the list or roll again. But let's see what the story what it will write for itself. Now, there's a couple other things when we're populating an area. Well, let's add some monuments, shall we? Yes, we shall. And we're also going to... we're going to give you scritchies, ma'am. Nope, don't step on the keyboard. As I hold in any particular area, there's usually 3 things that stand out. It could be architectural, it could be natural, it could just relate to religion or art. There's something in your city, your county, your state, or your country where you can say these 3 things are certainly landmarks in some way. For better or worse, for any of you out there, if you live in the boonies or you live in a small town, I guarantee that you can still think of 3 things that make your town or your county stand out. This is what's notable about it. So let's do that. Artemis, may I have a D20 roll, please? Now? Okay, I'll take Mers. Artemis Rosemoon is not with us. Cleve Chan, can I get a D20 roll in chat, please? Exclamation point 1D20. Oh, there's Artemis. Rolls a 12. And a 12 is a ruined or toppled statue of a person or deity. Hi, Hunter. Hunter, I would like you to type exclamation point 2D6. The first is to determine if it is ruined or toppled with odds or evens. The second D6 with odds or evens is person or deity. Exclamation point 2D6, please. You broke reality and rolled 2 7s on this, Hunter. All right, Hunter. Is a notable feature of our city, it's your choice. Either you can roll again, And if so, you'll have to do another command like 3d6, and we'll just ignore the third. Or you choose, is it a ruined or toppled statue of a person or a deity? So it's completely your choice, or you can re-roll with a 3d6 command. Yeah, Hunter's like, no, I'm gonna tell you about this place. Okay, so it is a ruined statue of a person or a deity. Your choice. All right, Belladonna. Thank you for joining us. Hunter, do we have a person or a deity that is the subject of this ruined statue? A person. A ruined statue of a person. Now, of course, that would beg the question, who was this person, or is this person that there's a presently and newly ruined statue? Or was this a person in history that over time or through war or something else has come into ruin? All right, our second monument. Who is hanging out with us? Big Slam. Can I get you to roll a d20 for me? Is there anyone out there that hasn't rolled? Testing, testing. 1, 2. Cleve Chan, 1d20, please. If any of you are new out there, this is an interactive process. Just speak up in chat and I'll be happy to call on you. You're not out resources by rolling. And you're not going to ruin my night if you roll the wrong number. You cannot roll the wrong number. Cleve Chan breaks reality. After 2 7s on 2d6, Cleve Chan rolls a 21 on a 20-sided die. Alright, Cleve Chan. You can either roll again, in which case use the 2d20, or you can choose one of these monuments from the list. A sealed burial mound or pyramid, a plundered burial mound or pyramid, faces carved into a mountainside or cliff, giant statues carved out of a mountainside or cliff, intact obelisk etched with a warning, historical lore, dedication, or religious iconography, ruined or toppled obelisk, intact statue of a person or deity, ruined or toppled statue of a person or deity, a great stone wall intact with tower fortifications spaced at 1 mile intervals, great stone wall in ruins, great stone arch, a fountain, an intact circle of an intact circle of standing stones, a ruined or toppled circle of standing stones, or a totem pole. Your choice, or you can roll again with the 2d20 command. What are you looking at, man? you get into just sort of creeping around mode? What's going on? All right, Cleve Chan rolls again. Stops on a 14. That is the first number that is on the chart, and we accept. It is a great stone wall. All right, well, I guess it writes itself because it looks like from that animatic that the city did have a wall around it. So it writes itself. A great stone wall intact with tower fortifications spaced at 1 mile intervals. All right. Do we have anyone else here? Raven, Bane, Heretic Trance, Iron Chef Lord, Lucius, Survival, Xbox Aaron, Flame Singer, Killer Ravens, Noctis Silence, Bad Espada. Anyone out there? I have a kitty cat out here. By the way, while we have these two mundane things, I like also having, you know, it's fantasy. Let's spice it up and have something a little weird going on too. All right, I am streaming to 0 people, so I am going to roll 1d20 in chat. It lands on an 11 for the weird locale. A wishing well. Very interesting. All right. Now, as we have this, this would come to, you know, do I know the area? I don't really know who lives here. The mascots do, but none of the mascots are normal. I wouldn't say that the mascots are indicative of the normal people who live in this area. Now, we did see humans, for the most part, in, you know, either as cultists or as the soldiers. So we could always list something like human. And by the way, if you're doing this at home and you only want it, there are no fantasy races. Everyone's human or everyone's elf, like in Zelda or something. That's fine. If you want 5 major races, or you only have humans from the PHB and everything else is from a splat book, cool. I'm keeping the exercise simple and we're sticking to the core book. So let's go with what we have here. Bad Espada will roll something. Okay. Bad Espada, type exclamation point 1d9, please. Three. So not a dwarf, not an elf, a halfling, okay, and Cleve Chan, why don't you roll 1d9 in chat as well? If anyone else wants to roll, even for a second time, let me know. I want this to be interactive. Let's have fun doing this. An 8. So that's the second to last. So it's not going to be tieflings. Half-orcs. However you want to translate this. And hey, if Awe lives in the city in the tumbled wench, well, there's that. All right. Now, how do they get along with each other? This is a good question. And to answer that question, do I have Hunter, are you out there? Artemis, are you still out there? Fluffy Sheep, are you out there? Bad Espada, if you're still hanging out, let's get a second roll in for you. Can I get a 1d20 roll, Bat Espada? Exclamation point, 1d20. All right, Fluffy, I'll call on you next. Stops on a 9. Harmony. The halflings and the half-orcs live in harmony. Harmony, 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 my love. The ruler's status. Fluffy Sheep. This would go back to that council of elders. The ruler's status is what? Halfling orcs. Ah, there we go. So a half-orc is just that, right? It's, wait, is that... Would that just be a goblin? Is that how that works? If halflings are half-humans, would a half-orc just be another name for a goblin? Do we have goblins and halflings living together in a city? That's an idea I could get behind. That'd be interesting. And then, of course, the kobolds come in with their dragon cult. It's a battle of the shorties. But yeah, Fluffy Sheep, roll a d20 for me, please. $16. On deathbed, well, it is ruled by elders. On deathbed, claimants compete for power. All right. Pardon. What is a notable trait about this city? Cleve-chan, roll a d20. Now, we know that there is a river, it has this wall, you know, there's the monuments. What is another notable trait? And you'll notice that it's not just a physical thing. For example, if you get a 13, it's the site of many battles. I mean, if you roll a 6, well, we know that, but that would really be eerie. No, it would be a short war, I'm sorry, because I went into Fluffy's roll. Go ahead and roll a d20 for me, though, Cleve-chan. If you get a 6, that'd be really interesting. You know, maybe on an 18, there's a notable library or academy. That's more than just a monument, but that is a trait of the city as well. Lands on a 14. Ooh, the site of a mythic or magical event. Hi. All right, Cleve-chan, bonus roll. Let's make this a d12 because those don't get rolled often enough. Roll 1d12 in chat, Cleve-chan. 1 through 6, it's a mythic event. On a 7 through 12, it is a magic event. Nine. Site of a magical event. What's the event? Well, we'll find out. Now, this city is known for what? Clearly it's known for something. Artemis Rose Moon, if you're out there, can you roll a 1d20 for me, please? Exclamation point 1d20. People know this city for a particular reason. Do they know it for its education? Do they know it for its wines? Do they know it for its greedy merchants? Tell me what this city is known for. Now it's known for its meow meows? Is it known for its chin scritches also? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, sweet little baby. Oh, there's the rub. That's all of them. Alright, Artemis is not with us. Fluffy Sheep, can I get a 1d20 roll, please? Nice, ma'am. Hi, Blue Joy. Well, that's obvious, Cleve Chan, but what else? Stops on 16. It's known for its high fashion. I have definitely seen goblins dressed in all manner of clothing in my life. High fashion for a short people, it works. Now, Blue Joy, you are here, and you have brought a terrible portent of things to come with you. I need you to tell me the current calamity that our city is facing. And you'll do that by typing exclamation point 1d20. Stops on a 7. Corrupt officials. I kind of wonder then. I kind of wonder if that plays into the ruler status being on his or her deathbed. Claimants compete for power. Or maybe the ruler means well, but it's some sort of, younger generation bureaucracy under them. Or something along those lines. But right now, corrupt, or this is actually, as we saw in the animatic, the cult is infiltrating the city. The cult is infiltrating the city, and so that could be what the corrupt officials are. They're the worm tongue to to the king. They're whispering, "Oh, you should totally do this thing that'll bring about Tiamat." No, it's cool. Source, I'm your advisor. Just trust me, bro. Hashtag just trust me, Lord. Me, Lord. Now, the town name, I don't quite know that yet. We can get around to that. I'm not worried about that next. Is there a particular religious building in town? As we come over here, you can see if you're really just generating a map, you can roll a bunch of stuff. A city is going to have some sort, well, in most cases, will have some sort of, whatever. This is going to be, there could be different faiths and different temples to different faiths. What we're rolling for here is inspiration for what is the main one. Either because most people go to it, or it's going to feature more heavily in the adventure we're writing for this region. I'll tell you what, Blue Joy, let's catch you up on rolling. I want you to give me another D20 roll, please. Not only did you bring Calamity, I want you to tell me what type of major religious building, like what is the notable religious building of this city? You broke reality and you rolled a 21. Blue Joy, this means that you can either choose from, you can just choose yourself, or you can re-roll. as you're on a cooldown for 1d20, you'll have to use 2d20, or you can choose a temple to a good or neutral deity, temple to a false deity run by a charlatan priest, home of ascetics, an abandoned shrine, a library dedicated to religious study, or a hidden shrine to a fiend or an evil deity. It hasn't, Fluffy, but I kind of like the happy accident that's happening now that I don't have to buffer it like I did before. So I'll keep it as a charming piece of the channel. So there's lore to it, not just me being lazy. So you can re-roll with a 2d20 command, Bluejoy, or you can just choose. Temple... Oh, I'm 50-50 on false deity, abandoned shrine, so I'll do odds evens. Sure. Lands on a 2. What's evens to you? Abandoned? Okay. So there's a notable religious building in town, which is an abandoned shrine. A tavern name. Now, unfortunately, we cannot generate the tumbled wench. I suppose if the dice were rolled and we ended up getting like a 21, it could be that. But while we know that there's a tumbled wench, maybe this is before it became popular. Or this is another notable tavern in this city, because you know there's going to be more than one. Is there someone out there that hasn't rolled yet? Or hasn't rolled in a while? Hunter, are you there? I know Sierra Echo's lurking. Big Slam, are you out there? Heretic Trance, are you out there? Lucius? Hunter, I want you to type exclamation point 2D20. Exclamation point 2D20. A 15 and a 21. Why are you all breaking reality tonight? This is statistically improbable. If we go with 15... apparently so. I mean, I said if you roll a 21, you could make it the tumbled wench if you wanted to. Because what are the odds that... What are the odds that this would happen again? You've proven me wrong. So if you want it to be the tumbled wench, Hunter, I will make good on this. And apparently the story is saying, no, I exist. I'm forcing myself into reality. Stop trying to hide it. Otherwise, Hunter, if we go with 15, it's the lonely. And you can re-roll a 1d20. To find out, is it the Lonely Mountain? Is it the Lonely Pony? Is it the Lonely Dwarf? Your choice. What would you like to do? It lands on a 19. Okay. The Lonely Spider. The Lonely Spider. All right. This is another notable tavern in town. And I want to know, Hunter, what kind of a place is the Lonely Spider? Would you please also roll 1d20? It might be reset for you by now. If not, maybe I'll do it here. What type of tavern is the Lonely Spider? Boy, if you get a 19 or 20 here. All right, it's a 10. It's a Thieves Guild hangout. All right. We have a lot that we can go on now. As we take a look, we go back here. Let's go to the movie screen. So we know the mascots were living by the lake. All right. Biddy's flying from the cave of the Lonely Spider, kind of, down to the city, delivering the message to the barmaid and Awe and the goblin. And now both parties are set out. He's going to the fort, and they're taking the long way in order that they're not taking the hypotenuse because these two are rather sensitive to light and also would be very highly judged by anyone living in the countryside. So they're taking the right angle to get to the city. These two are going to the fort and then the city. So we bounce ahead and we see that the city folk are scouting. Look at that. Now we have the cultists taking over. And wouldn't you know, if this isn't a couple halflings in a trench coat, for sure we have kobolds in a trench coat right here. We have kobolds in a trench coat. I hope you all also enjoy that Awe can just look through the wall because she's a ghost. So now we know that the cultists are taken over. The city is disrupted because the cultists are doing their thing, and now the whole gang is getting together. Bada-bum! We formed our party and we're gonna head out. Now, there's other things going on. There's political ruling that in the city that is probably caused by this cult. But even given an already determined set of events, as is displayed by this animatic, everything that we just made together can still work. This all still works with the canon of the mascots and this region. This is all leading. These are prompts that we can just run with, or if you want more to build on, you know, if you didn't want something, pardon, pardon again. If you want to run it through another sort of intelligence, because look, we need to make a fortress. And by the way, I'll come up with some castles and crusades generators as well, okay? But if you want more detail, you want to consider more things like this, bastions and all this, then Cool. We have a very simple baseline here, and now we can take it through another process. Are the half orcs, the goblins, I guess? Are those the creepy crawly kind? Are they the uh more gentle and squishy variety? These are things that we can determine. We know that there's a certain sense of culture, that we have high fashion. There's some sort of magical event. Did that transform a bunch of people? Was it is this where level 6 spells were invented? And this place is actually a source of the next gen graphics cards. I mean, the next gen spells for your spell book. That could be it too. Go. And even though there were already predetermined, I don't know, things in the presentation, well, we know that the mascots are outliers. They live or unlive in different ways and don't necessarily click in. Even the wench, there's an Easter egg about her that we discussed in a prior broadcast. Hi, Killer Gamer. How you doing? Thank you for joining us tonight. Are you new to tabletop games, or have you been doing this forever and you just decided to pop in? But everything that we just made together, it not only fits what currently is present, it continues to have us asking questions to develop the world even more. Why is there a tavern called the Lonely Spider? And while the Lonely Spider may not be a thieves guild itself, it is the type of place where a lot of people in the thieves guild hang out. So what's the cause of it? What's the culture of it? What are the economics of it? Of that tavern or the city itself? We saw that it's located in grasslands and along a river, so there's most likely trade, and the river would be flowing from south to north, so goods are coming from a place that was off the map, or are produced in the city and then sent up the river or down to the lake, because the lake can connect to a lot of other places too. I've played D&D for 3 years now, but I'm DMing for the first. Hey, nice. Also, hi Tonk, how you doing? Thank you for so Killer Gamer is now the forever DM. One of us. One of us. One of us. Thank you for stepping up and being on the other side of the screen, as it were. Now, if you have questions about being a first timer, if there's any sort of tips or advice you'd like, this is the community to ask those questions. You will not be judged on a bunch of newbie questions. And we're here to help. We're here to not tell you what to do, but we can share examples, and you pick the best, the one that works for you. The best. But do you see how this book really gets into a lot more than just here's all sort of surface level, and just a quick prompt and roll with it. Each does a thing well, so I'm not putting either of them down, but there's definitely a big difference in presentation and even in expected culture of the consumer. Okay, Fluffy. I actually played D&D today, says Killer Gamer. I'm a games programmer, so story writing and storytelling is my bread and butter. Oh, excellent. So it's more, how do I take these ideas and fit them in a D&D world? Well, that is cool work for you, Killer. That's been something I'd always wanted to meddle in. Just, even if it's something simple like RPG Maker or something like that. But it's interesting now getting the perspective of someone who does video game programming stuff and is looking to implement it, because it's, in many cases it is the same thing but different, similar to being a writer of a book or maybe even of a video game, being a writer and being a story facilitator in a tabletop role playing game. Because even in a game where there might be a couple different choices to something, everything still fits in the hallway. You can still have your quantum ogre or whatever, because everything's going to happen as it needs to happen. Whereas when you get that, when you're live play testing, you're doing live programming of a game and it's getting live play tested in front of you. The chaos gremlins that are your players can really do a lot to stress test what you have. And I don't know, I like that, the thrill and the challenge to that, of course. um but it's really interesting to meet someone who does what you do. Now, is what you're running, Killer Gamer, is this a Killer Gamer original? Are you starting by cutting your teeth on a pre-written module and maybe just adapting that as you go along, so at least you have this structured base, or you have this like engine you're working with, and then you tweak it from there? How are you approaching your your first time as dungeon master, DMGMST? Pre-written, what's that? Never homebrewing, the whole thing. Let's try to take, wait. Pre-written, what's that? Never homebrewing the whole thing. I'm actually talking a game I never developed, and oh, taking a game in that case. I'm taking a game I never developed and making that the basis of the campaign. Yeah, Killer. Yeah, plant that seed and watch it grow. It might take some wild directions, but you take that seed and you plant it, and you nourish it, you water it, give it that sunlight of your players, and it'll do some unexpected things. Or you might have that idea of, oh, this is so cool, this is totally going to happen, and your players don't do the thing you expected, but maybe something even cooler happens that's an even better fit for the story that you had in mind, because you let nature take its course. But I'm glad you're diving into home brewing. um Blue Joy says, I'm playing an old game, but still here. I may not hear you over the game audio depending on timing. So if you require anything from me, just yell blue or at me and it'll ping me. Well, Blue Joy, Blue, if you're out there, as we're winding down the workshop for the night, and for those of you who are here like Killer 7, I'll be back tomorrow for more workshopping and conversation. Blue Joy, I don't know if you've done the weekly in Phasmophobia yet. I wouldn't mind getting a group together. Raven, if you're out there, I wouldn't mind getting a group together and getting the weekly out of the way, and maybe doing some hunts in the lighthouse for that badge. But yeah, Killer, that's awesome. I'm really glad that Killer. I have to imagine you're aware of and you know about Discord. You are certainly welcome to join us there. Oh, okay. If you're just coming by, Blue Joy, I would like to do some ghost hunting. If you are willing or able, I'll talk to Raven as well if she's out there. I still got to do the weekly, and it's a fun one because you have all the cursed items in this weekly. There's really no penalty for dying in the weekly too, so you can go nuts with it. Now, my question is as follows. I'm not asking it out loud.
but not as brave as I've hoped I wanted to be these days. If you go inside, it will take you where you need to go. Espresso.
We are gonna go. We're gonna go do a thing. Play for a bit. I'll play my game. All right, all right. There is absolutely a friend of the channel here, Batty, who is getting back into Dungeons and Dragons, and he is playing in Captain Robert's channel. They're going through Vecna Eve of Ruin. So let's raid Captain Robert. Let's say there might be some other faces with whom you all are familiar as well. Let's raid into Captain Robert. Let's give them some love and luck. See how they're doing in this epic level pre-written campaign. Please do join us over on our Discord. We will be workshopping tomorrow as well. Come back, Killer Gamer. I want to talk to you more about this on Discord or off. That's awesome, and I'm glad you met. That you came by and we got to meet. I'm sorry I don't have a lot of time left to stick around and discover this. So let's see what you wrote real quick. Well, we just skipped an entire arc and pissed the DM off today. We found this book with a magical seal, and we were meant to find out after the arc. And then, oh, hey. Oh, you all, so you paid attention to the surroundings and you skipped an arc. It might be frustrating for some DMs, but hopefully down in his or her heart, there was a sense of pride that you paid attention and you put the clues together. That's how I'd feel anyway. Killer, please come back and stick around. Join us on Discord. I'll be streaming some Phasmophobia as well on Discord if you're there. If you're a booster on Discord or a subscriber here on Twitch, you can watch and join along and be a part of it. Anyway, I'll see you. Bye.